In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the TI-84 to generate random integers. And for the exercise I'm working on, I need to generate midterm exam scores. So I have a reference sheet with the number of students and then the score that the student made. So what I need to do is first generate a random sample of 5 students, and I need to average those scores. And then next I will generate a random sample of 10 students and average their scores. So when I look at my table, I want to look at 146 students total. So I have 1 through 146, and I need to get 5 unique scores. So because I have students, I wouldn't want any of the student numbers repeated because they represent a unique person. So what I need to do is go to the TI-84, and I need to go to Math. I need to arrow to the right to the probability menu. And since these are integers, I want to go down to number 5, which is rand int. So I'm going to select this, and my operating system is going to walk me through the lower number, which is my lower integer of 1. And then I want to generate stopping at 146, and it will include those numbers. And I want to generate 5 numbers at once. So I'm going to type in 5, and it's just going to paste this command onto my screen. For students who don't have that operating system that walks through the lower and upper integer, they can go to the rand int command and then just use commas to separate the lower, upper, and the number. The comma button is right here. So once I press enter, I'm going to get 5 numbers, and it looks like I have 5 unique students. So what I'm now going to do is cross-reference those students over here in my chart. So student number 138 made an 85. I'm going to average these. Student 133 made a 100. Student 22 made a 54. Student 76 made a 90. And student 60 made a 95. So first I'm going to add all of those scores together. And since I have 5 students, I would divide by 5. And then I would write down that the average was 84.8. So if I'm going to use the mean and do something later with the mean, I wouldn't want to round that. So I would want to leave that mean as the decimal 84.8. So let's suppose I want to do the same exercise, but I want to sample 10 scores separately. So I'm going to go back to Math, Probability, number 5, Random Integer, and I have the same students, and I want to choose 10. Now, if I left the end blank, I could just do 1 at a time and keep hitting enter when I paste the command and calculate, but I want 10 at a time. So let's see if we get 10 unique numbers. Now notice that I can't really see all of the values. So I would have to use the right arrow button to actually see the remaining scores. So if you have a list that's fairly large, sometimes it's kind of hard to see all of those, and it might be easy to get confused. So what we may want to do is add this to a list. So what I'm going to do is go to my stat button here first, and I'm going to press enter to go into edit. And we're actually going to store those 10 numbers here in the list 1. So what I'm going to do is go back to the command Math, Probability, number 5 for random integer, and I want to tell it 10. And I'm going to paste the command, but I'm going to tell it where to store. So before I press enter, I want to go to the store button right here, and I want to tell it where to store. Well, L1 was the list that I want to store in. So this L1 is in blue. So I'm going to press second 1. And now when I press enter, it gives me a new list of numbers. And instead of having to arrow to the right and cross-reference, I can actually just go to the list. So I can either go to stat edit, and now I'm going to see those numbers. So now what I can do is cross-reference with my midterm exam scores, and I just want to make sure that I have unique students. And notice here I have a repeat. So before I calculate the final average, I would probably want to regenerate the random integer so that I get another unique student.